Clash at the Castle 2024 was taking place in Scotland, Glasgow, Scotland to be exact, and that guarantees that's a hot crowd because like the overseas crowds, they like to bring the heat, they like to bring the energy. Did this show bring the energy? Well, we'll talk about that. So the first match right here was a match that I did not expect to open here, but it was Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles inside, well, not really inside, just in a I Quit match right here. Cody Rhodes, I don't really know, like, he's kind of boring to me. I used to like Cody Rhodes, but like ever since WrestleMania, it's just kind of like okay, formulaic. He gets to a brawl one week, and then like maybe another brawl the next week. He gets beaten on a little bit, then comes to the show. There's some suspense, like oh my gosh, he's gonna lose, but then like he doesn't end up losing. He just ends up winning, and like I know like it's the case for a lot of champions like Roman Reigns. His reign was pretty formulaic, but I think Cody Rhodes is much like Roman Reigns doesn't defend the title enough for him to have an excuse to be formulaic, and I just don't really care for Cody Rhodes in general. But he faced AJ Styles right there. Cody wasn't gonna lose this match. He came out of WrestleMania. He finished the story. I'm sorry, Cody. I was kind of bashing you earlier. I know, but like I shouldn't be mocking him like that. But AJ Styles obviously wasn't going to win this match, even though he said there was no quitting him on SmackDown, but he still quit after Cody was about to smack him in the face with steel steps, which AJ quit, and then Cody actually did smack AJ with the steps after the match, and that actually busted him open. Speaking of busting people open, that the same thing happened to Cody Rhodes in this match. He was bleeding on AJ Styles' gloves, which was kind of gross, but it's cool to see like the blood on the pay-per-views to show that WWE isn't really like scared of putting that stuff on the shows anymore. But all these weapons were used: kendo stick, hit the camera, kendo stick, chair, table as well. And they also teased bringing out thumbtacks. It was like a velvet bag that was in AJ Styles' hand, and it was like, oh my goodness, you know what we keep in those velvet bags. But they teased the thumbtacks, and it wasn't actually to be. They just brought out the handcuffs, which AJ handcuffed Cody Rhodes. But after he sent AJ Styles through a table, he was able to unhook the handcuffs. And yeah, Cody Rhodes is still your champion. Where does AJ Styles go after this? I don't think he's gonna retire after this. I mean, like it would kind of be weird for him to like fake a retirement one week on SmackDown and then like come out of your next match and just retire. I think he's got a little bit more left in him, and I also hope he's got a little bit more left in him. But AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes there. Traveling over here for the next match, this was Alba Fire and Isla Dawn challenging Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, and also challenging them were Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. And yeah, I expected Jade Cargill to actually Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair to actually win this match, but it was actually Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. What happened was Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill hit their double team move, which is basically like the DDT, and then Bianca Belair kicks them, and then they hit like a German suplex and everything, which is pretty cool. So like they did that to Shayna Baszler, and then Jade Cargill was about to cover, but then there's Isla Dawn who hit her with a suplex, and then was able to pin Shayna Baszler for the victory in her hometown. And this was very surprising. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad they won because they have like been overlooked for too long, for like so many years on the main roster. Not really so many years, but like a little over a year on the main roster. It's good. It's cool to see them win the women's tag team titles in their home country as well. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Pretty cool to see them win. And I also forgot to mention, but Kevin Owens and Randy Orton did come to the aid of Cody Rhodes following the match. Because like Solo Sikoa and the Tongans, the what Kevin Owens calls bootleg bloodline, came out and tried to beat on Cody Rhodes and everything. But I hear voices in my head. I'm gonna get copyrighted. But Kevin Owens and Randy Orton came out, and yeah, they beat on Tama Tonga. They beat on Tonga Loa. They beat on Solo Sikoa. And also, some I want to talk about real quick. That it doesn't really have anything to do with this, but like there was a WWE trademark, a term for Talatonga recently, so that might be some other Tonga that they're about to introduce to the bootleg bloodline, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn. I called him Cody Rhodes, then I called him CM Punk, then I called him Sami Zayn. But then Sami Zayn went one on one with Chad Gable to defend his Intercontinental Championship. I'm gonna try to stand him up a little better because he fell. But Sami Zayn, this was a pretty good match. We've seen it quite a bit, but these two have great chemistry together, and their matches are really good. Otis really played a factor in this match. Let me get the camera over here. Otis, but definitely played a factor in this match right here. It was like he was looking to like what happened was Sami Zayn literally threw Chad Gable into the injured ankle of Maxine Dupree, and then Otis like thought that Maxine had really like been knocked down by Chad Gable deliberately, so he was like in Chad Gable's face trying to like about to hit him maybe, but then Sami Zayn he went flying over the top rope and took them both out. Well, not with them both out. Like Otis pushed Gable out of the way, and then took the brunt of the impact. And then Chad Gable hit a moonsault, which floored both Otis and Sami Zayn. And I think the storyline's kind of dragging, if I'm being honest. I mean, like, I'm sorry if I'm being a bit of a negative Nancy today. I've been awake since like 5:30, dude, for real. But Otis and Chad Gable are still like having that storyline going on with Otis not being able to pull the trigger on Chad Gable, not being able to pull it. Well, he pulls the trigger on Sami Zayn, but like still he's not turning on Chad Gable. The next match was Bayley versus Piper Niven. This was a pretty good match. I mean, like there wasn't a bad match on this show, but like I said, I wasn't really too into the show. But Bayley defended her women's championship against the hometown girl Piper Niven, and the crowd was really torn in this match. They were booing Bayley at first, but then we were saying that classic song "Won't You Be My Girl" for to Bayley. Like remember that used to happen in NXT a lot. Well, they were doing the same thing in Glasgow, Scotland here. In the end, Bayley was able to roll up Piper Niven. We had Chelsea Green on ringside, who was ejected from ringside, then came back in a Rey Mysterio mask, as a little disguise, if you will, and then it was knocked off the apron by Bayley and everything. Then she would roll up Piper Niven for the victory. Bayley is your women's champion, still. And then our main event of the evening right here, or the day if you're watching it in the States, or at least in most areas of the States. Drew McIntyre facing off against Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship in his hometown, technically of like Scotland, home area of Scotland. He's from Ayr, Scotland. This was in Glasgow, but he is from Scotland and that area and everything. The fans loved Drew McIntyre. They were like chanting his name throughout the match, booing Damian Priest. Really added a lot to what was already an amazing match. Claymores, we saw a lot of chops from Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest just repeatedly. It was mostly like Damian Priest who was getting all the chops, but then he started chopping Drew McIntyre a little bit. And then towards the end, we saw the referee get knocked out of the ring by both men just bumping into him. I think it was just Damian Priest actually. And then like he was down. Drew McIntyre hit a claymore, and then another referee comes in. He counts one, two, and then stops. And I saw his slicked back hair, and I'm like, is that CM Punk? Yes, it was CM Punk. He stopped like the count, held up a 2 count to Drew McIntyre, and then like Drew had his face like squeezing his face in the corner, about to like toss him or something, like toss him like he does like the overhead belly to belly suplexes, and then CM Punk floored Drew McIntyre with a low blow. And Drew McIntyre was down. Damon Priest didn't see him this, but Priest was able to hit a South of Heaven choke slam on Drew McIntyre to retain his World Heavyweight Championship. So, wow, I can't believe that didn't fall. But Drew McIntyre loses his home country. A little unfortunate to see, but they're probably going to build up Punk and McIntyre for a match, possibly at SummerSlam. I wouldn't see that happening at Money in the Bank. But yeah, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, that'll be a pretty good match. I've never really been the biggest fan of CM Punk as a whole, but like he's good in the ring. There's no denying that. But yeah, that has been Clash at the Castle 2024 in a setup style. Also reviewing it with my thoughts and everything. In the end, I'm gonna give the show. This was a pretty tough ranking to do because like there wasn't a bad like match on the show. It was just like certain things, just like seeing Cody Rhodes and everything. I'm not really the biggest fan of him, but like everything, 6.5 out of 10 or 6.5 out of 10. I give this show right here. And two major questions need to be asked. How did WWE pull off that main event without causing a riot with the fan base? And also, where's Uncle Howdy?